Hi everyone, it's Elena. Today is a very exciting day because I'm taking my parents to go see my university. I'm currently studying psychology at the University of Sydney, so I've been there for about 4 weeks when this was being recorded, and I would always tell them about the travel and I'd always tell them about how cool it is to go to university. So I decided that on a day where they were both free, it would be great if I could take them. So this is us on the way to uni. We have to catch a train and then a bus. So we caught a train to Central, and then this is us going through Central Tunnel. And now we are at the bus stop where we will be catching a bus. I initially planned to take them through the main gate, but it started raining so bad, so I thought we could go from the Footbridge Theatre and then we can run straight to Courtyard. But before we go to Courtyard, we made a pit stop at the usyd store just so I can show them what the merch looked like. There were a range of bucket hats, hoodies, quarter crews, so many different things. I look so silly in that video, but I got to show them around the different merch we have. There's also like the USU history wall, so it was so cool seeing how the union was formed, the timeline itself. It's just a lot of history for the university that it adds on. Here we are at the Courtyard Cafe. I often come here with my friends because it's very close to where most of my lectures and tutorials are. And every time I come here, I think it's such a lovely place. I have to bring my parents here as well. So when we come in, it was pretty early, so we didn't get like lunch. So we got more of like a brunch situation going on. We decided to get a few things and share it between everyone. And I also have my USU rewards, which is like a yearly subscription type based membership that you pay for, and you get discounts when you purchase from selected stores in campus. And then once we left Courtyard, I decided to take them firstly to the most important place, Wallace Theatre. This is where I have my criminology and my psychology lectures, arguably where I spend the most time on campus. And it was so surreal seeing my parents in Wallace. I think it's so juxtaposing. When we were sitting down, and I was like, this is so crazy. But yeah, this is my Wallace Theatre. We usually have two projector type screens that roll down from the front. It's quite big, and my mum decided to take the moment to go down and pretend to be a lecturer, which was so funny. I've never seen Wallace so empty. I always see it so packed with so many students trying to enter and finding seats. So this was very new to me as well, and I was as excited, if not more excited. No, I definitely think my mum was more excited. Here is my father and I sitting down, and here is all of us in Wallace Theatre. We were looking at the seats and talking about which seat we would sit on, and it was so funny because the next day when I went into class, my mom asked me what seat I was sitting on, and I said the light blue one. So yeah, Wallace is pretty close to where I have my psych and criminology tutorials. So where you see the little lawn is the education building. But before we head over to the education building, we are going to Old Teachers College, which is where I have my psychology tutorials. My psychology tutorials are my 8 a.m. tutorials. So I have my 8 to 9 psychology class, and then I have a 2-hour break. So this is me showing my mum where I sit during my 2-hour break. My mum, if she isn't working, will often call me or I'll call her, and sometime during the 2 hours I'll let her know that I'm sitting in the education building. So it was so surreal being able to show her that this is the education building I was talking about, and it's such a lovely place to study in. I think it's such a good atmosphere. It's so quiet. It has such a good ambience to it. The statue in the back is of Confucius, so I always feel like I have his blessings when I'm sitting and studying in front of him. So you can see me pointing to Manning in the quad, which is definitely like what people think usyd is. Like when you think of usyd, you think of the quad. But before we head there, I had to take my parents to the iconic graffiti tunnel. I have heard of this tunnel so much before I came to this uni, and I think I've only been in here once or twice, but it's always so fun walking through. It feels like a rite of passage. You see so many students' names, and I feel like it's so cool that everyone gets to leave a little part of themselves. There are restrictions. I think you can't like paint on it from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. because of the fumes. And the graffiti tunnel is right next to our School of Psychology building, which has this very nice quiet space next to it. So that's also one of the places I like to sit in. And I think it's quite lovely being able to get off at one side of campus and have all my classes around there, except for the days I have to go all the way to Castle, which is on the other side of the quad, to have my maths classes. Anyways, this is Manning. Or this is the Manning house. So we have events here. I had my paint and sip event with my friend here. The first floor is a food court. Other than that, I don't really come here often, but it's so nice. They have lots of different restaurant types to go to. So we decided to stop at this Asian restaurant. Not restaurant, like a fast food place, and it was so cool. We got to pick like the little trays and pick our options, and also with the USU rewards we got a reduced price, which is really cool as well. And then my mum spotted the floating staircase. I think I told her it was inspired by Harry Potter, but I actually don't know what it's inspired by. The nice painting ibis that you see is on the Manning milk bar. They have like coffee, and if you come during like the happy hours, you can get coffee for free or for a reduced price. And now we are making it to the quad. So this is a sort of entrance from the side to the quad. When you're in the middle of the quad and you look out, you can see the Sydney Tower, you can see the UTS building, but it really is a very, very beautiful space. Often when we walk around in between our classes, we will see people that come and dress up in Harry Potter style costumes with like the wizard robes and the wands, and they will pose and take pictures in front of the quad because it truly does look like Hogwarts. And I get that a lot when I tell people that I go to usyd. They ask me what it's like going to Hogwarts, and I think it's not a sight you can get used to. The first week of school, I was constantly taking pictures every time I walked past, and I can assure you that I still do that. Like sometimes the sun and the quad and the sky and the clouds just look very good. So I don't think I can ever get used to this. But we are heading inside of the quad, and I think you can see there are lots of people taking pictures. It was so cool being inside. I've seen graduates take pictures. They have their robes and it's very beautiful. But my mum was telling me it truly does look like some of the buildings that we've seen when we went to India. Like it has its history. It looks like a very old, but old in a good way type building. Often you see in like the photo shoots of the university, you see these corridors. Here's my mum pointing to some of the work that's being done on the building. I wouldn't be able to tell you what that is, but it all tied in very nicely. The rain disappeared, so we were able to enjoy everything in its beauty, and they look so cute here, so candid. I can't remember what we were saying, but I think they're just talking about the architecture, and it just was really beautiful. I think it's so cool being able to bring your parents to your university, but also I spent so much of my days here, so it was so cool being able to tell them the little stories of the different things I'd been experiencing in university. This is me in my essence. I was just telling them random things. I don't know what was going on, and at this point we were so tired as well because we'd been doing so much walking, which is something that you truly underestimate. There is so much walking to be doing, especially when you're sort of sightseeing. You're like taking a little pit stop and then you're walking around. You're doing so many stairs, but I think it's very, very beautiful. It's so worth it. We were able to make so many memories, and this is us heading out from the quad, or heading out from the inside of the quad. If you look closely, you could see the Sydney Tower just behind me in that clip over there. But yeah, we often see planes going past. Although it is a trek and a half to get to uni, I love the area we're in. I think we're close to so many hotspots. As someone who wouldn't go to the city very often, I think this is such a surreal experience for me, being able to come all the way to the city and attend such a lovely university. And I think it's so great to actually be here and to be able to study a degree that I love, make friends, and genuinely enjoy the student life. I really enjoy that here. Speaking about student life, during orientation week or O week, we would have stalls lined up on this walkway that we're walking on right now, and it was so full. I was telling them how busy it was during this time. We would stand in so many queues, but it was so much fun. And during my weeks here, we see so many different types of people come in. There's always, I believe these are people on an excursion or just touring the campus. But we also have lots of high school children as well as primary children come in and do like classes. But here we are walking into my data science lecture, or like the area we have my data science lecture in, and I've never seen these lecture rooms so quiet, so I was a little taken back as well. But this was before the next lecture started, so some children were just coming in, some students were just coming in and sitting down, but this is one of the lecture halls as well. And then we were slowly winding down our day. This is the Madsen building. I believe this is a science building, but don't take my word for that. It's so interesting. They had the different branches of science all shown in there, and the architecture of these buildings are so cool. Something else that I've noticed in the city is even like your McDonald's or your KFC in the city looks so cool because the exterior is so, I'm trying to find a word to describe it, but you know when like buildings are really super old but like ancient old type, yeah, that's very cool. But we took a look around. This is like a map, and we were trying to find our area. I think the closest we found was Penrith, but very cool. Represent. I can tell you right now, my parents were huffing and puffing beside me, and not gonna lie, I was huffing and puffing as well, but I really had to thug it out and pretend like I do this trek every day, where in reality, I usually either just stay on one side of campus. I think there's only one day where I have to travel back and forth, but I always have plenty of time to rest in between. So they were really going through it, and they were telling me that it was a lot to walk around for. So then we decided to call it a day, and we headed back to the bus stop to go back home. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!